Well, what it does is you see it actually goes live.
Now,
Like you know these words that I'm
it's
saying right
live now.
now,
Yeah,
they'll be
this is
live.
live. We are
Yeah.
live, guys. We're live on Facebook. Great to see each and every one of you. Fantastic. So, yeah, James, why don't you open up the room?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and get everybody in who is patiently waiting. We're just going to go ahead and hit admit. All right, then. Awesome, cool. Welcome everybody to this webinar, which Mahmood and I are hosting tonight, speaking about entrepreneurship, pathway of an entrepreneur, and how any of this can use entrepreneurial tips, tricks, hints, clues, stuff, and things like that, advice to either accelerate their own career within dentistry or also flourish outside it as well. So no matter what your motivation is, whether you love dentistry, whether you don't love dentistry so much, we've got you covered tonight, because when we speak about this, it comes from our hearts. This is something that we've been doing for quite a while. We are both dentists, real dentists, even though we don't practice dentistry anymore, because our side gigs grew to the point that they were so successful that they were able to sustain our income. And guess what? We were having so much more fun as well doing this.
So, James, I think
And
your
that's coming
internet's
from,
cutting. I think your internet's cutting a little. I think it's cutting a little.
okay.
Hey, guys, great to meet each and every one of you. Could we ask you to turn your webcams on? It would be so good. So those of you who are on Zoom with us, please do turn your webcams on. Hey, Priya, great to see you.
Hi.
Awesome. Jean, great to have you here. I'm going to call that, I'm going to say yoga. Sunil, great to have you with us as well. Jenna, great to have you with us.
Sorry, Mahmood, thanks. I'm driving, so I would love to listen.
That's cool.
Okay, no problem, mate.
That's absolutely
No problem.
fine. So can we ask everyone to get their webcams on? That would be phenomenal.
Webcams on, as many webcams as we can, guys. It'd be awesome to see your faces. Get some faces to the names for everybody who's
Always
on
good
this
to see
webinar tonight. It'd be interesting to know. It'd be interesting to know if everybody's a dentist on here as well. If we've got any non-dentists or dental professionals, pop that in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. We want to know who our audience are. We want to know what you do so that we can serve you to the highest standard and share our knowledge, and also tweak that so that we can speak to every single profession that's on this webinar tonight, because Mahmood and I are of course dentists, and we love to hear from anybody else who's in the medical field, because the point of medical entrepreneurs is not just dentists, it's actually anyone in the medical field. And there's so much power in that group, because those conversations that happen between doctors, dentists, when they're creating side businesses, when they've got that entrepreneurial excuse me, that entrepreneurial flair, what that means is that you can have conversations with other people who are like-minded, and maybe even have business opportunities, because those fields are so aligned as well. So pop that in the chat if you are indeed not a dentist. We'd love to hear from you. So this is not the first time we've had these business masterclasses. This is not the first one. We are making this a regular feature of the Medical Entrepreneurs Group. And what we will do on these is speak about entrepreneurship, which is a heck of a lot of fun for us, because it's something that we do all of the time. You know, there's a funny thing that someone said to me. I was talking to my mom the other day, and she said, James, you swapped 9 to 5. You've got out of the 9 to 5. Congratulations. But you've swapped it for the 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Where's the sense in that? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, Mom, what you have to understand is I'm having so much fun doing this that the line for me is so blurred between working and having fun that I don't even know when I'm doing it. And what that means is that you can do it all day as well, because you actually enjoy it. And that's how you know you find something that's exciting for you. And when I say I speak from the heart, I talk about this stuff because I genuinely feel everybody should feel like this every single day. It's so much fun. That is the holy grail in life, when you can get to the point where you're enjoying your work so much that it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. And another thing someone said to me recently, you know, there's 3 ways you can retire. You can either make so much money where you can sustain yourself through your income. You can stop spending money. Maybe you become a hermit, or you become some sort of monk and you don't spend any money at all, so therefore you don't have to work. The point of retirement is you feel like you're not working, you don't do any more work. That's the point. Or the other thing that might mean you retire is when you have a job that you enjoy so much that it never feels like working. So that's an interesting way of looking at it, another philosophy. And maybe there's a few people on this webinar tonight who just learned that they've actually retired. Interesting way of looking at it, isn't it? But yes, Mahmood and I, 2 former dentists, what we're going to do right now is we're going to share our stories and what happened to us to allow us to grow outside of dentistry, and how our side gig became our main gig. I've done a lot of talking. I'm going to tell my story in just a minute. I'm going to pass the mic over to Mahmood so he can share a little bit about himself.
Awesome. Again, great to be here with each and every one of you. Me and James have been working together for quite some time, and we'll go through how that all works out and everything in a while. The reason we put this group together is on our journeys, what we found is initially we thought we were quite alone, that we were people who wanted to do things outside of medicine, outside of dentistry. And then what we realized is that, no, we're not just alone, but there's a lot of dentists, a lot of doctors, a lot of medical professionals who actually want to be able to earn a side income, to be able to sometimes get out of the profession or to actually do a lot more within the profession. And so we've been talking about this for quite some time. And so it's great that we're here. And this group for us, it's a long-term group. What I mean by long-term group is we want to be able to serve each and every one of you really well. We want this to be an ecosystem where you can come in and everything that you want to actually achieve, that side income, more money, more happiness, whatever it is, that this group will be able to give you those steps in order to get there. The reason that we're here is, sometimes maybe we're just a couple of steps ahead of you, that we've already done this. And by using the methods that we've used, by us sharing our knowledge, our hope is that it can actually get you on that journey yourself. A lot of you know us already because you're within our separate ecosystems already. Some of you don't know us and then you're here for the first time. So the reason for this group is to be able to help each and every one of you grow, for you to be able to do the things you always wanted to do. Always say there's one life, right? No one's coming back. That's it. And some of us are in these professions and we think that this is all we know because this is what we've studied. And we've got that real ambition to start up something else because maybe we want to earn more, maybe we want to do more, maybe we want to serve more, maybe we want to give more, whatever it may be. And it's how do you get there? What is it that you have to do? So we're going to break down in 5 steps today, the steps that we took in order to be able to create our side hustles, which then became our main hustles now. And we want to be able to take you through that. Obviously, we've only got like 45 minutes to an hour. So we'll give you as much as we can. On top of that, we've got some Q&A at the end. So please save up your questions. You can post them in the Zoom chat. For those of you on Facebook, post them up with them. We'll come and we'll answer as many questions as we can. But as James rightly said, this isn't a one-off. What we're going to be doing is every single month, we'll be having a masterclass within this group. Then we'll be having open Q&A as well. So a place where you can really come, where you can ask, where we can really serve you well. So yeah, James, why don't you start? Why don't you let us know your journey, how we met, how this started, and where you are right now?
Yeah, 100%, man. And here's the thing. Now that I have a business and now that I exist, my income from the business sustains me and I don't work as a dentist anymore. I always used to think but I will get to my story in just a minute. I was listening, but just one little thing I wanted to say. For me, like when you have a business, when you have something that you've created that generates money, I always thought that there was a huge amount of luck in it. I just thought some people get lucky, they start a business, some people don't, But actually what I've realized as I went through this journey is that it's a skill set. And the chances of you surviving, the chance of your business succeeding are married to how good you are at the skills related to your business, the skills related to your business, especially if it's an internet business. There's a certain skill set that you can have that even if you lose your business, even if something goes wrong, you can go ahead and create another one. And that for me was the biggest mindset flip, because I just thought you got lucky or you didn't, you know what I mean? But actually, if you can take that and you can learn those things, anybody can do it. Anybody can give them the best chance possible. And the thing about the internet is still underrated. There's so many things that you can do. There's so many things that you can create out there. There's a group of people that you can speak to and you can niche to like nobody else can. And it's not just an option to go and talk to those people, it is your duty, okay? Because those people and their lives will never improve unless you share what you have with them. Now that begs the question, what is it that we do share? Mahmood and I will be talking about the actionable steps that you can use to find out what your skill is, to find out what your passion is. And I'm convinced, okay, I have not met anybody yet. Oops, Daisy, there's some people waiting in the waiting room. Let me let them in.
Everyone wants to know about you. Tell everyone why you're here.
Yeah, we will. Sorry, we'll get to that. I was just wrapping up. And I was just going to say that I haven't met anybody yet who doesn't have something in here that they can sell, they can create a business around. I honestly haven't, all right? It's just finding out what that is. But anyway, yes, that was a bit of a detour, but back to my story. So I am a dentist. I don't practice as a dentist anymore. So that was in the past. That was something I did historically. So I graduated from Leeds in 2016. I liked dentistry. I never disliked it. People always presume that I don't do it anymore because, I don't know, I disliked it or it was something I didn't enjoy. Actually, it was a very organic thing. It got to the point where I found that dentistry was just getting in the way of my entrepreneurial endeavors versus the other way around. It grew to the point where I was doing dentistry around my business rather than business around my dentistry, and that was when I knew it was the point to take a leap. But anyway, as I say, graduated in Leeds 2016, Leeds University 2016, went to Sheffield, did my foundation year, had no idea that this whole, at that point, I just thought I was going to be a dentist and work until I retire, just like everybody else, whatever retirement age is for each one of us, whatever it is when we get there, because let's not forget they keep shifting the goalposts on that one, which is another thing that, if we're waiting and we're hanging on for that beautiful moment where we don't have to work anymore, if it keeps shifting and it's like a mirage in front of you, for me, you have to seize your destiny. And that was something that frustrated me. But anyway, like I say, 2017, came back to Leeds after my foundation year, started dabbling in cryptocurrency around about that time. That was when Bitcoin was really popping. I know it had a wild year last year, the price went up loads, but it was also popping around that time as well. And I thought to myself, okay, this is clearly a bubble. I don't know anything about investing, but this is a bubble. Right here, right now is a bubble. So I'm gonna be smart. I'm not gonna buy it right now. I'm gonna wait. I'm intelligent, I'm clever, I'm much smarter than that. I'm not going to get fooled. So I waited about 3 months. Now, anybody who knows anything about crypto knows that when it goes through its huge boom and bust cycles, after it has a huge boom, then it takes about a year for it to reset before the next boom. I had no idea. I had no idea about this stuff. So I thought 3 months, it was a little bit of this. When you lick your finger and you put it up like this and you feel which way the wind's blowing, that for me, that was the best information that I had. I never thought about it. And I thought, okay, the boom will probably be over by the bust will probably be over by then. I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. Let's see what happens. Now, that initial endeavor, that initial folly, just letting this lady in, was not successful. I actually managed to lose about 70% of my first investment within the first 12 months. Within the first 6 months, actually, that's how long it was. Now, whether you're an investor or not, if you're losing money at that rate, you clearly don't know what you're doing. Okay. So for me personally, I realized there was a huge disparity in how good I thought I was versus how good I actually was. Okay. So I thought, okay, let's learn about finance. Let's learn about crypto. Let's begin to seize this. Let's begin to put this into my own hands and take charge of my own destiny and learn how to do this. Because let's not forget, somebody out there can do this and make money from it. What's the difference between me and them? I figured that was knowledge. Yeah. So I began to learn. The more you learn about crypto, you realize you have to take a step back and learn about finance in the first place, because crypto is an evolution of finance. Crypto is designed to address the problems that the traditional finance system has. You must understand that. You must understand what those are before you can understand crypto. So then, as I say, this initiated this huge voyage into learning about crypto, finance, etc. Self-taught investor from books, no formal education. This was my side gig or my hobby that I did around my dentistry. I also love dentistry as well. If you saw my bedroom, there's about 20 books sat on top of each other, dentistry books, things that I have learned about dentistry, things that books on, this, that, and the other, various topics on dentistry. Now, around about 2 years ago, I was playing football and I had this horrible knee injury. It tore my ACL. If anybody's torn their ACL, they'll know it's absolutely zero fun and it's really painful. So that happened. Then I knew I needed surgery. I realized the next day I needed surgery when the physio told me. I had no idea that was necessary after you tear your ACL. I didn't even know what an ACL was until the day after, when he told me what had happened. He gave me the lowdown on why I couldn't walk properly, basically, the day afterwards. So anyway, that happened. And then that was in 2019. Now, I was waiting for my surgery date. Coronavirus came, everything turned upside down, off work for 3 months, got even more into investing, read more books, spent loads of time learning about it. And then I went back to work for about 2 months, learned that I was going to have surgery, said to my boss in my work, I need 2 weeks off to recover from this surgery. He said, okay, that's fine. But really, 2 weeks, that was the minimum the surgeon recommended. And actually, they recommended 4 weeks. But I was young, I was foolhardy, I was a little brash, I was a little cocksure. And I thought, 2 weeks, I'm going to need 1 week, I reckon, but I'll go 2 weeks because I'm on the safe side. You know when you're just a young man and you think you're invincible. That was me. Okay, so went back to work after the surgery, 2 weeks after the surgery, and it just was not happening. My knee was swelling up. It was getting really big. I was putting work before my health. So as it happened, what was simmering in the background was that I didn't actually really particularly like that dental practice either. I kind of needed an excuse to leave. I needed an excuse to leave. So what that allowed me to do was I just said to myself, okay, I'm going to take some time out. I'm going to just, relax from dentistry, have 3 months out, let my knee recover properly. And that's when I started Dentists Who Invest, who a lot of you on this webinar may know me from. That's my page, that's my group. It's about educating dentists on finance. And then from there, a lot of people started joining it. It went viral. I got to know Mahmood around this time as well. It grew and grew and grew. And then I started selling courses, started selling programs to educate dentists on how they can invest their money wisely in the crypto world and outside of the crypto world. And then that became my side gig. And then basically I just had no time to do dentistry anymore. And that's how it happened. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed that story. So Mahmood, you wanted to share your story as well?
Yeah. Can anyone I'm not sure how many people in this room or on Facebook actually don't know us, or does everyone here know us? I mean, if this is the first time you're listening to James or myself and you kind of don't know where we've come from, could you just type yes in the chat box?
Yeah, please, that'd be interesting actually.
Yeah, so if it's the first time, just type first in the chat box. So if it's on Zoom, so we know. Some of you know us quite well, and some of you don't know us. So just type in yes or no in the chat box. So if you know us, if you don't, it's cool.
Maybe you might like to tell your story in the meantime, Mahmood.
Yeah, I don't know how much everyone knows about us. Yes, no, yes, no, yes. Okay, fine. No, James. Okay, that's cool. So, where should we start? Right. So, dentist by profession, 2013. 2003, graduated from Manchester. I practiced dentistry for 14 years. For the 7, I loved it. The other 7, I actually hated it. Right. James enjoyed it. The last 7 years, I actually hated dentistry whatsoever. My life changed quite a lot in 2016 when my father passed away. When my father passed away, what happened is I realized that, my father was very, very, very happy. He died happy, did everything he wanted to do. For me, I was extremely unhappy in what I was doing in dentistry. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be able to serve, inspire, help people. And at that point in my life, I had a stutter. I had a stutter since I was younger. I wasn't able to speak. And so I didn't know what I could do. And as far as I was concerned, I was just a dentist. And I went on this journey where I had to go and find myself. One of the things which we're going to talk about when we talk about the 5 steps to create your business, one of them is to be able to find your gift. That I knew that I had a gift inside of me, like many of you possibly know there's a gift inside of you. I believe everyone's got a gift. And the journey of life is for you to find your gift and tap into your gift and then use your gift to serve the world. I truly believe that's the purpose of life. And I knew there was more to me than dentistry. There was more to me. I was very grateful for what I had, but I wasn't happy. And I feel that that's an okay distinction to have. Most people say that, I should be grateful and happy for what I have. You can be grateful for what you have, but it doesn't mean you should be happy for what you have. There's a big difference there, right? And a lot of us, we are grateful, but we're not happy. And we feel bad inside of us that we're not happy for what we have, but it's cool. You don't have to be happy in what you're doing. You can still be grateful for it. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where I would go from there. So what happened is, when my father passed away, what really helped me cope with the death of my father was the fact that I used to run every single day, and running allowed me to build up a great mental mindset, and it allowed me to cope with anything which was happening. So my father passed away. I was able to cope with it in a very different way because, I'd been running every single day. And I remember this quote by Gandhi, which I came across, and what Gandhi said is that you will find yourself when you lose yourself in the service of others. And for me, that became very important, that I looked at that and said, what does that mean? What does that actually mean? And what it actually meant for me is, to actually find yourself, you got to help others, and it's not about yourself. And I said, but what can I help people with? It's not dentistry I want to do. And I said, hold on, what if I could teach other people how to run? What if I can teach other people how to keep fit? So my journey started off in the fitness industry. So I started helping people how to get fit, how to stay mentally strong through getting physically fit. So I started that. And also my biggest concern at that point, my biggest fear was actually public speaking or speaking, because I had a stutter. I wasn't able to do that. So I used those sessions when I used to train people. I used to have like 15, 20 people in the park with me, and I used to give them a talk. And every single week I did this for a year, every single Sunday. And I used to give them, there was no charge for this. I did this for free because it was my way of helping people. And I did this for free. And every Sunday, I used to give them a 10-minute pump talk before I worked out with them. But that pump talk, I used to practice for 8 hours every single Saturday to get ready for the Sunday. So I used to spend 8 hours every single Saturday for 1 year getting this talk ready. And then I used to go there and I used to deliver it. And I used to put it out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And what happened is people started watching it, and people started inviting me on their stages to speak. And I realized that that was a passion I had inside of me, which I never knew. And everyone's looking for that gift. They're looking for that passion. They think they should know it. But no, you don't know it. And the way you find it is by trying lots of different things, and something clicks. You think, yeah, that's it. And you do more and more and more of it. So I realized that, speaking was my thing, that from before where I couldn't speak, now speaking all the time, people were inviting me to their stages. I started being headhunted while I was in dentistry still to speak for other people. So I used to work for some companies and kind of run a seminar for them and then upsell something at the back later. And then I became one of the best closers in the first 11 months. I closed £2 million from stage. That's not profit, that was sales. So I got a percentage of that. So I realized that, I had a gift inside of me, and dentistry. And then the more I loved what I did, the more I hated dentistry. And it got to the point where, another crazy event happened in my life. My aunt passed away, and I realized that the biggest thing, about her death was the fact that I didn't have to go to work the next day because I had to go to a funeral. And that really made me realize that this is it, right? That I got to get out. So I went to my business partner's house and I told him, look, you got to buy me out, or, I'm walking out. And so he bought me out. That gave me enough money to live for a year. So my share of the practice was worth a year of income for my family. So I've got 3 kids. And so what happened is I left the practice, and then I had to make this work. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I could speak well. I knew I could sell well, but I didn't know what to do with it. My journeys took me to LA. I was speaking in LA. And for some of you who know me, I've shared some things with some great guys, people like Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, Mel Gibson, people like that. So I was on the stage with Steve Wozniak at that point in LA. And I came across a coach in the room, and that coach used to charge people €1 million to coach them. And that blew my mind as to how someone could actually charge someone €1 million to coach them. At that point, I'd started the coaching journey, but I wasn't charging, £2,000-3,000 to coach people. And I didn't understand how someone could charge $1 million. What happened is this guy started coaching me. I didn't pay him $1 million, but he had another program where he would meet me 4 times in a year within a group of people. And he helped me develop what I do right now. So I launched an academy initially where I was teaching dentists how to speak powerfully and how to sell powerfully from stage. So I can have the power to go into the practice and to be able to really, really, really speak well and really powerfully sell. Okay, and that's where everything started. We took the business from 0 to $500,000 within the first 1.5 years. So that was great. And what happened is, just when you think everything's great, something happens and everything gets cut. COVID came along. Most of my travels took me around the world, and then people used to come to London for my courses. And when airspace closed, the business went from $500,000 down to 0. And one of the things I'm going to talk about, one of the things about, me and James are going to talk about when you build up a business, it's, being able to have that growth mindset. One of the keys to that is when any kind of shit happens to you in life, for you to ask yourself, where's the gift in this? Where's the gift in this? Where's the gift in this, right? So I said, when lockdown happened and the business went from $500,000 to 0, it was like, what if God had sent lockdown for me? What would that mean? Why would God give lockdown? Like, what's there in it for me? What's the gift in it for me? And what I realized, this was the opportunity for me to build up an online academy, something I've always wanted to do. And so I built up an online academy. I started, and the way I did it is I always wanted to have a business course. And so I said, let me launch a business course. And normally the price of my course is priced out a lot of people. And at this time I called up 70 people, right? A lot of them were my friends. And I called them and said, look, I'm starting a business course up in 2 weeks time. And it's going to be, and it's going to be $1,000, that's it. And I called up 70 people and 40 said, we're in. Okay. And so at 40 people signing up for the course, I hadn't made the course yet, launched the course a week later. And that's how, my academy, which is a Reignite Academy, that's how I started during lockdown. That's when I met James as well, that James wanted to get out of dentistry at James. And then that's where we built Dentist to Invest From. And so, within the ecosystem, so during lockdown, we went from a turnover of 0 to 1.5 million. And, for me, my overheads are quite low. So a lot of that was profit. And we built the team from 2, which was me and my son. My son used to travel around the world with me, filming me, to we've got 16 or 17 people right now, staff-wise. So we've grown a lot during this. And, one of the things that me and James won't hold back on is we won't hold back on figures. This is actually a place where you can come and we want to help you build your business. So it's really important that you know what we've done and what we do and how we do, because that's the only way that, that we can also help you do that. So, my academy grew from 0 to 1.5 million in about a year. James will let you know about him. And so for us, we're having the best times of our life. But I'm not saying best times of our life that we're, turning left in planes and driving nice cars, none of that. What I'm talking about, best time of our lives, I'm talking about flipping impact, right? That right now I'm at a place in my life, I'm having the most amount of impact I ever have. I'm doing things I never thought I would, but I work 20 hours a day. And for some of you, that's like, what the hell? Yeah, I work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's tough, it's hard. I have a family, I have 3 kids, but I'm in the place right now where I realize that I'm making an impact. And for me, that's what keeps me alive. That's my oxygen, right? And I work flipping damn hard. I don't know anyone who works harder than me. And I really truly believe that the entry level for entrepreneurship is damn hard work. People talk about work smart, not hard. It's nothing like that. It's about work hard first, work smart comes later. I'm in the early stages of building up my business. And, for us, building up this group is, my goal is to be a billionaire, but it's not to have $1 billion or £1 billion, it's touch 1 billion lives. By having this group, I want this group to be massive, where it helps me get towards my goal of touching more lives. Each and every one of you here right now, those of you who don't know me, it's allowed me to touch another life. And for me, that's really important. And that's why, there's a lot myself and James do together. So, I'm James's coach, I bounce a lot of ideas off James. James is one of the coaches within my academy as well. And, for a long time, we've had a dream to be able to launch something like this. We truly feel that knowledge isn't there to be kept, it's there to be shared. And that's why we're here. And we wanted to be able to share our knowledge, how we did this with you, so you could start where you want to go. And so this has been a dream of James and mine for a long time, right? We're super busy people. James will tell you how busy he is, right? There's like no time for anything, but we have time for things which matter. We all have that, right? We're busy people, but when something matters, we have time for it. And we have time for this. We have time for each and every one of you. And we want you to benefit from this. We want you to be happy. That is the biggest ROI, right? It's not money, it's happiness. And that's why we're here. So that's me, that's James. And James, if I can spend kind of a minute more letting them know. So, me and James having a chat this afternoon, and we said, if we had to condense how we built our business into 5 ways, what would be those 5 steps? What would be the 5 steps? We sat down and said, look, what are those 5 steps? And, for us, the 5 steps were that, and we'll go through these step by step, but let me know you the 5, and please write them down as well. We'll put them on the group later as well. But I believe that the first thing that you need to be able to do, to be able to find out what is that you want to do, grow your business, is to be able to develop your mindset. And we call it the growth mindset. And we'll talk about what we mean. And just that word means different things to James and myself. So James will tell you what he means by that and how he developed that and how I developed that, right? So we'll tell you separately. Mine and James's views, they're not all the same sometimes. That's why there's 2 of us here, right? We'll have different views. And that's great. So you can learn from both of us. The second thing is that only when you develop your mindset can you actually find your gift, find your passion. So the next thing is to be able to develop that business, you need to be able to find your gift, you find your passion and do what you love. Because as Steve Jobs rightly said, right, that, when you do what you love, you do it all the time. Where other people are doing it because they have to, you're doing it because you want to. That way you win, right? You'll win because you can work 20 hours a day and call it play when other people are calling it work. That's how you win. So the first thing is to develop that mindset. The second thing is to be able to find your gift, find your passion. You can only do that once you develop the mindset to do so. The third thing is to let the world know that you're around, to let people know who you are and what you do. For us, we call it our content creation, what we do. I post 3-4 times a day on Instagram, right? Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, right? That is my place. That's where a lot of people find out about me around the world. So, that's the next thing, getting people to get to know what you do, why you do, and why you are the best in the world at doing it. Then after that, the most important lifeblood of your business is sales. Right? How do you sell? How do you talk about money? That people don't like that, but selling is actually serving. It's the most important thing you can ever do. If you're not able to sell to people, you can never really help them because they'll never be in your ecosystem. You'll never be able to serve them. So, the 4th one is sales. And the 5th one is having the patience to know that it'll come, that when you work hard, you struggle hard every single day, life will come to you. It'll happen. So it's having that patience. When we talk about patience, we talk about micro patience, not macro. We talk about macro patience, not micro patience. What I mean by that is I don't want you to have patience every day. I want you to flipping, run fast and hard every single day, but know that in the long run, it'll happen. That's how, long-term patience, not short-term patience. That's what I mean. So, we want to go into these 5 areas and then, in about half an hour, we'll wrap up and then let's take some questions and let's make this real. Let's make this alive. It's one thing us being able to give you this knowledge, but it's another thing how to actually implement the knowledge, right? That's a totally separate skill set. And let us be able to help you implement that as well. So James, right, number 1, from the growth mindset point, right, what's your biggest takeaway on that for your business? How did you develop that? And then after I'll talk about that and then we'll kind of move down the ladder that way.
Awesome. So making growth your priority insofar as you're actively seeking out tasks, you're actively seeking out things that things that you can participate in, which grow you as a person and then therefore set you apart from others. So what that means is that you can serve them and you can teach them about those things as well and elevate them with you. So one example would be public speaking. Speaking is the greatest gift. Warren Buffett, who said speaking and selling, the two greatest gifts that any human being can have. I always thought I was good at talking, but through creating content and through running live events, I realized that there's actually so many more levels that you have to go to in order to be able to become good at that. So for me, the first thing that I pursued when I'm thinking about growth, I think about getting comfortable talking to lots of people, speaking publicly, and also creating content too. And if you can become that person who pushes through and is able to do those things and able to teach others and able to do them to a very high standard, then you actually have a massively sought after skill in itself. The other thing about growth is, for me personally, you know, it's all about pushing yourself. It's about pushing yourself constantly. It's about being happy to go where other people won't go, because businesses, the whole point of a business is you're a pioneer. You're quite literally a pioneer. You have to be comfortable with being different from the rest of the crowd. And for me, that was the biggest thing about growth, is actively seeking out those things that will push me and drive me further, and becoming comfortable being uncomfortable and doing a lot of the stuff that other people aren't willing to do, because that's what creating a business is. And when I say that, one of the examples is one of what Mahmood just talked about a second ago, which is how hard you have to work. And like I say, you swap the 9 to 5 for the 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. at the start. But for me, life is about purpose. Life is about pushing yourself. Life is about going as far as you can in such a short space of time, helping others, serving them, creating something that's amazing and creating a legacy. And for me, it's a way easier to do that if you're an entrepreneur. It's way easier to do that if you've created something that's unique and special. And for me, that's the thing that drives me every single day. That's what gives me the growth. That's what gives me that energy. That's what gives me that passion, you know, is finding something that is fun to do. For me, life is way too short to spend time doing something over and over again, chasing certainty, chasing the same result, but not being happy. Surely, if there's people on this webinar who are listening, who are dentists, and they are not people who enjoy their job, it's not something that you want to do, or you want to do something else in order to complement it, then for me, it's like, what have you got to lose, almost in a way, by trying these things, by growing and doing other things that are totally unrelated to dentistry, undertaking other activities that are totally unrelated to dentistry. However, because you find them interesting, because it's those things that are growing you, and it's those things that you can eventually repurpose into a business, those experiences that not everybody's had. What do I mean by that? That's a little wishy-washy. The thing about everybody on this webinar is that if you're a dentist, or no matter what profession you are, if you learn about another body of knowledge, you can relate that knowledge to your profession like nobody else can. So take what I do, finance and dentistry. Am I the best financier in the world? No way. I'd never say that. I've never worked on Wall Street. I haven't even got a qualification on it. Am I the best dentist who's ever lived? No way in heck. There's some unbelievable dentists out there. Yeah. But can I marry those two together, put it in a package and give it to people, give it to dentists, give it to you in a form that's way more understandable than a financier can, or a dentist can, you know, who has no education on it? Then yes, that is what I do. That's my favorite thing to do in the whole world. And that is the mindset that you must have in order to create your own business. It's not about reinventing things. It's just about repurposing them and speaking to a group of people who you can niche. And that comes through growing yourself and seeking out activities that will push you as a person psychologically and mentally. You wanted to say something on that as well, Mahmood, yeah?
Yeah, for me, when I look at the growth mindset, I feel that is the foundation of everything that each and every one of you, each and every one of us, right, should have. And it's an ongoing journey. It's never going to stop. And you're every day making that mind of yours stronger and stronger and stronger. And that mind, you know, every day I say when you wake up, it's like a flipping battle going on in your head. And you need to be that warrior, and you need to wear your armor every single day when you go out to war. Okay, and that is really, really important. Recently, I was doing I was speaking at the Founders Day at UCL, and we were on a panel, and one of the founders there, and I mentioned this, and they go, "No, you shouldn't tell people this. People need to wake up happy, and you can't tell them they're going to be stressed." I'm like, "No, it's not like that. The truth is, the journey of an entrepreneur is tough. And when you wake up in the morning, right, you need to make sure that you are well equipped for that day. For me, that's why your mind is so important. And you know, there's I talk a lot about belief stacks, and when you see some of my stuff out there, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you'll see there's a lot of belief stacks I have. And for me, when it comes to growth mindset, I've got a 14 stack belief system about the mind, but the 4 most important ones on there, which I live by every single day, are ones which I feel you should live by. And what these are is these are sentences, these are words which I believe with every part of me, and I make myself adhere to these all the time. They're etched in my soul. And like for the first one is that the world is a good place. That, you know, every single day when you wake up, you have a choice to make whether you live in a good world or a bad world. And with everything going on out there, like wars, famines, things like that, you know, sometimes we can, you know, we believe the world is in a good place. And if you believe the world's a good place, then you'll never do great things in a good world. And what that'll mean is you'll never grow. So you've got to wake up every single day knowing that this world is a flipping great place. You need to know every single day that this world is an amazing, amazing place to live in, that this world's beautiful. When you wake up like that and you actually believe that, and you know, it's like life sometimes, right? You've got to tell yourself it every single day for you to believe it. You've told yourself something, all of you, something over and over again, and in the end you believe it. And this is what belief systems are all about. When you tell yourself something over and over again, it gets etched inside your soul. It becomes part of your subconscious. And that's what this is about. So the first one is to believe that this world is a great place. Because if you believe the world is a great place, then you'll do great things. The second one is that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. That no matter what, and many of you have heard this, right? You've heard this. I say the same thing over and over again because like sometimes there's nothing new. That it's the things we need to hear over and over again, which are the things which we really need to take on board. That, yeah, number 2, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. That everything which is happening in your life right now, it's happening for a reason. And you've got to find the gift in it. You've got to find the reason as to why things are happening in your life. And even if sometimes there's no reason, you can find a reason. And for me, that's the second one. The third one is to know that you can learn anything new at any time, right? That your skills, your traits are malleable, that you can develop any new skill set at any time if you do something over and over again, and if you do things which are hard, okay? That way you develop new skill sets. It is really important. And number 4, to also know that all the hard work that you're putting in really now, all the hard work you're putting in now will be paid back later on. They're the 4 belief stacks which I used to build up my business to 1.5 mil. Okay, like, and I still, every single day, I go with that all the time. Every single day, when I wake up in the morning, that's the belief stack which I live by. And if you, like, the first thing you need to do is to be able to instill that in yourself. Your growth mindset is where you understand the world's got great things for you. When you understand you can do great things. And when you live by those 4, your mind develops, your mind grows. It's only at that point, it's like the foundation of a building. It's the foundation of everything. That when you develop that foundation, the rest of that can build. Most people are looking for strategy, James, in the business, right? You know, the 4 ways, the 6 ways, none of that works. The reason it doesn't work is because the foundation is not right. So when you're building up that business, whatever you want to do, start with the foundation. The foundation is up there. You get this right, everything works. Because you can get a strategy, right? You can get Nike's strategy of how they, built $1 billion business. But the reason it won't work for you is because you haven't got the mindset to be able to action that. If you do have the mindset, that strategy can work for you. So the most important thing, number 1, is to be able to get that. So again, that 4 belief stack, and if you want, we can type it in the group, I'll put that in, but I want you to live by that. I want you to etch it in your soul. They should be the core of your beliefs. And that's the first thing. James, if I can go into the second one, and then you can touch on the second one as well. That once you've developed that mindset, what happens is you start seeing life in different ways. Let me share this. Let me share with you a story, right? Nike were launching a new pair of trainers, and what they did is they wanted to launch a new pair of trainers in the Sahara Desert. So what they did is they sent 2 sales guys to Sahara Desert. They sent their best sales guy and their average sales guy, sent them in a private jet. They got there, and the average sales guy calls the MD and he goes, "Look, right, this ain't the place for us. It's a hot country. It's sandy. No one's wearing any shoes here. We ain't going to sell any trainers here. Forget it." And he came back. The brilliant sales guy got out the plane. He looked around and he called his MD. He goes, "This is the best place we can be. Do you know why? No one wears flipping shoes here, right? No one wears shoes. We can put shoes on everyone, right? This is the best place we could ever be." Same situation, right? 2 different people looking at things in different ways. Your mindset, the glasses which you wear every day, and that's how you look into the world. Okay, if you look for happiness, you'll find it. You look for sadness, you'll find it. You look for joy, you'll find it. You look for love, you'll find it, right? You look for abundance, prosperity, you'll find it. Yeah, you look for lack, you look for scarcity, you'll find that as well. So the thing is, what pair of glasses do you wear every day? Once you've got that mindset right, they're the new pair of glasses you wear, and with that new pair of glasses, what happens? You start seeing life in a different way. You start finding the things you're great at. You start looking at your hobbies, not as hobbies, but hold on, maybe there's something I can grow. And that's when you start finding your gift. You start doing things in a different way. So for me, that's what the second thing is. That my journey started in fitness. It took me to speaking. From speaking, went into coaching. From coaching, it allowed me to launch the academy and kind of whatever we're doing now. But it's like where you're going to be is door 10. And sometimes we're trying to open door 10 before we open door number 1. But the way we open door number 1 is by looking at the things you're great at and starting there. So look at what you're great at. Look at why God put you on this earth. Like, what is it? What are you great at? What are you world class at? And if you're not, try lots of things. And as you try lots of things, you'll find something which you like a bit more. As you do that more and more, you think, oh, I really like this. You do that more and more. The more you do it, the better you become at it. And that's how you find your passion. That's how you find your gift. And through that, because I say this, right? The biggest gift is when you can monetize your gift and turn it into a business, because that way you can serve the most amount of people, right? When you do things for free, people don't value it. People don't value things for free. Otherwise, you'd go on YouTube and, how many videos on there on how to be a millionaire? How many of us have done that? Or billionaire? We don't, right? It's free. Yeah. People don't value things when they're free. The best way, the most efficient way to be able to serve the most amount of people is to find what you're great at and then build a business out of it, which is exactly what James did, exactly what I did, exactly what everyone who we coach, that's what they've done. James, what about you? What's your take on, like I remember that conversation we had, right? Before you found your gift. And it was like, what do I do? And then you realized your gift was trading, investing, and how much you loved it. You said, what if I can serve other people through that?
Yeah, 100%. So when you have a gift, here's the thing. I feel like people spend so much time deliberating over what their business might be versus just trying something that they know that is a passion or a skill or a hobby, and they know that they can help people with, and then learning as they go along. So here's the thing, say you have a gift, or say you have something you're good at, okay? Say you have something you enjoy. Then for me, what is a business? Let's look at it fundamentally. A business is just value delivery, okay? It's where you take some value, you give it to someone else, and there's a transaction for money. So people are always saying, I always hear people say things like, oh, I don't know what I can turn into a business. I don't know how I can start. I don't know what it is. The first thing is you take something that you know will help other people, no matter what that is. That's easy. Anything that has value can be a business. Anything in the whole world, yeah? And that's the thing, that's the point of a business. That's what it fundamentally is. It's just giving someone else value and then them giving you money, okay, in exchange for it, because there has to be that transaction there, because the point of a business is that it has to be profitable, okay? So for people out there who are saying, what's my gift? What do I do? How do I begin? The trick is just to find something that you like and then just start. And you know what? There might be people on here who like football. There might be people on here who like, I don't know, anything in the whole wide world. You can, if you create something and then you share that and you get your first customers, you get your first people on board, you take them down to the park, you have a kicker on, you play some football, something like that. Guess what? You started. Okay. And here's the thing, right? So many people, when they want to start their business as well, I feel what holds them back is, especially if you're a dentist, it's quite easy just to be comfortable and not just go to your surgery and just collect your wage, yeah? And you'll do well, you'll get remunerated pretty handsomely because you're a dentist, yeah? You can't expect your side business to make you as much money overnight, but the point is that you've actually started in the first place, and then you've got the ball rolling, and it's the skills you learn, those completely abstract things that you never anticipated that you would learn until you begin. Those are the things that will allow you to grow the business further rather than complacency and not doing anything. For me, the biggest thing is to find something you love. It has to be something you love. It has to, because you'll never be able to put the hours in to get it off the ground otherwise. And when you find
something, so important. That part you just said right now?
Yeah.
Like people don't see that. People don't see why you have to love what you do, right? And that is the most important thing here.
Yeah, 100%. You have to. It's necessary for the journey. It's necessary for the process.
But also, can I jump in there? Yeah. You don't have to love what you do all the time. Yeah, that's a caveat on there. A lot of people think they need to wake up out of bed and, oh, I'm so happy and I'm doing this. Well, no, you don't. Well, yeah, you have to love what you do, but you're not going to love it all the time. Right? It's like in any relationship, right? You're not going to be a, level 10 passion all the time, right? It's going to fluctuate. But the main thing, like with business, what it is, right? You got to love the result. the process is going to be shit at times. It's going to be tough. Like, who likes waking up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m.? Like, who likes it? No one does. But you know it's flipping good for you, right? Right? You know, lifting weights, no one really enjoys it, but you know it's good for you. Having showers every day, you know it's good for you. So you do these things, right? And so the process isn't the enjoyable bit, but the result is the enjoyable bit. So you got to love the process, even though you don't love it, but you got to love the result even more.
100%. And yeah, like I say, the point is that you can take whatever it is that you do and relate it to a group of people that you identify with. So we use the football example again. Football for dentists, I don't know, some sort of page or some sort of group or community centered around that, because the power is in niching. You know, I listen to a lot of Gary Vee. I love Gary Vee. I love his podcast, and he says something really interesting. What the internet does is it allows these communities of people to come together, these niches that never, ever, ever before could ever have interacted or spoke to each other. So let's look at my page, dentists who are into finance, dentists who are into money, okay? Before the era of the internet, where would you ever have got a group of people who are into that and be able to get them in one place? Now, when you have a group of people that are interested in one specific thing, you're a competitor of one. You're in a market of one, because you're the one person who can serve them and do that thing for them. And then if you can give them value, guess what? You've got a business. You create something and you can sell it, you know? And in my head, before I went down this path, before I began to voyage down this journey and began to do these things, I never really realized that actually at its very fundamental essence, if you make something that's useful to someone, you have a business. And you know what? It's all about just starting for me. It's all about taking that, whatever it is, putting a price tag on it, put it, even if it's like a complete no-brainer as to how cheap it is at the very beginning, like it's like 20 quid for something amazing that run really, really, really useful. At least you've started and at least you've began. And just like Mahmood was saying, it has to be something that you love, because otherwise you can't put the hours in. And if anybody is sat there thinking, actually, what is it that I love? Don't worry about whether or not you can monetize it for the minute. That doesn't matter, okay? Just find out what it is that you enjoy first of all, and then go from there. Worry about that later. And I'm convinced that if it's useful to somebody, you can monetize it, because like I say, the point is that as soon as you create something valuable, you can always make money from it eventually. Now, if anybody sat there thinking, I don't even know what it is I like, here's what you do, okay? You get a piece of paper, you write down 100 things on it, all right? Activities, things that you do and you enjoy, or things that you've always wanted to try, but you've never got the time to do it, but they look fun, all right? You write down those 100 things, rank them 0 to 10, each one of them, in terms of how fun you think they are. And if there's the things that are on there that are 10, that's your short list for your business right there, okay? Don't worry about whether or not it's monetizable for the minute. Just find things that you enjoy. You'll learn a lot about yourself. You'll learn what your hobbies are. You'll learn the things that you find pleasurable, yeah, or the things that you can do in order to create a business eventually. That is the first actionable step, because like I say, it is so important. And going back to the Gary Vee thing, what he was saying, got a little sidetracked there. What he was saying was the beauty of the internet is, because you can find these niches and these groups of people that could never exist before and get them together in one place, what that means is that you can create something that can serve those people like absolutely no other. And there's infinite niches out there. There's niches that are completely waiting to be tapped. It's just finding out what they are. And the first thing you do is you find out what your super skill is, you find out what your hobby is, you find out what your passion is, then you explore it, begin to grow that skill, begin to grow that ability by doing it or attending groups with other people who do it. Then you take that knowledge and you give it to a group of people that you can relate to, and that is how you repurpose it and make it valuable for those people. Useful. Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know, oh, by the way, James, also, so James and we were having a chat before, and we said most of you here are dentists, right? And some of you are going to be at the BDIA show on Friday, right? Some of you are going to be there. So we were saying that on that it would be great to meet some of you. So let's have kind of a meet and greet so we can get to know you. So for those of you who are going to be if any of you are going to be at the BDI show, type in yes in the chat box, number one, or put yes in the comments on Facebook, either one of the two. So they're going to be there. And at 5:30 on the Friday, like just outside the hall in the main corridor Excel, we thought we'd meet there. It'll be great to meet some of you, to actually put a proper real face to this. So 5:30 on Friday, outside of the hall where the BDI is. We will meet over there. So if any of you are going to be there, please type yes in the chat box, type yes in the Facebook post, and it will be great to meet you. And James and myself will be there. So yeah, 100%. That's super important, right? And so once you found that, that's great. Then the next thing, which me and James were talking about, was the third one, was to be able to get the world to know about you. And James and myself met Gary Vee in October. He was speaking at Earl's Court, and we were there speaking with him, and which was great. And so, really, really like him. And the point of producing content is so people can get to know you. People can get to actually, because business people don't buy your product, people don't buy your service, they buy you, right? How do they buy you? They buy you because people buy from people they like and people they are like. And what you do want to do is get out there and let people know about you. Let what your strongest passions, what is it that you do? People want to know about you. And so one of the biggest ways in which James grew Dents to Invest, one of the biggest ways where I grew what I grew is by me getting out there. The whole point was, from going into fitness to the coaching industry, was people started watching what I put out there, and they started inviting me to their stages. And if I hadn't put it out there, I know I'd probably be back to dentistry right now. So, and I never wanted to do that, right? So that was it. So one of the most important things on this journey is to be able to develop the confidence, the mindset, and the heart set to be able to post. I want you to be able to pick up a phone and just record something just like that and just put it out one take, right? Yeah, it takes a bit of time, but cool, we can get there. But I want you to be proficient in producing content. And once we've done this, for example, this will be repurposed into lots and lots of lots of short clips and things like that, which will then go out there. So there's so many ways you can produce content. So yeah, massively, massively important. And that's one of the main ways. James wants to come in. You can see, right, James? Go on. Yeah. Go on, James.
Yeah, I was just going to say, content is the biggest hack to creating a business on the internet in 2022. And I know that people have been creating content for ages, but there's still not enough people to do it. There's still not enough people who do it versus people that consume it. So I was reading that, for every 1,000 Facebook users, only 3 of them post videos. Okay, so you can basically speak, if you're one of the 3 people, you can speak to 997 people. There's a huge amount of people that are consuming your content versus people who create it. All right. Now there's a saying that goes around as well. There's a saying that I love, especially and it applies to the internet and applies to having a following. And that is, attention is currency and reputation is leverage. Now, what that means is that as soon as you have eyes on you, no matter what it is you're doing, no matter what it is you're selling, no matter what your message is, you can create money. You can monetize that somehow. So the essence, before you worry about money, worry about getting eyes on you, worrying about getting people to know about you. And then that flows, that will come next. That will always, always, always come. But people do it the wrong way around. They think, okay, I'll sell some products and then I'll get people to know about me. No. First of all, you pick up a video, you pick up a camera, just like Mahmood says, you speak into it. It's tough. Don't get me wrong. It's a huge psychological barrier to bust through in the first place. I remember my first video. I remember being just about to post it on Facebook, and my finger was hovering over like this, and I was like, do I want to hit this button? Then I hit it, and then I closed my laptop and I went off and I did something else because I just didn't want to know who was watching it, who was commenting on it. And now I love it. And by the way, this is coming from the guy who absolutely hated it at the start. It's the easiest way to create a business and monetize it. And even though people have been creating content for probably decades now, maybe like 20 years since YouTube became a thing, however long ago that was, there's still not enough people who do it. And that is the easiest way that you can create a business somehow. Don't even worry about how you're going to monetize it. Just worry about getting the eyes on you. Make it something interesting. Make it something that you would watch. And there'll be other people out there who are going to watch it as well. And by the way, just like Mahmood says, you know what? Be authentic. Just be real. Just be you. Because that will mean that you can connect with people. You're not just some faceless brand. You're a real person. And people will always buy into you. The more they trust you, they like you, and they know you, you can create something to serve those people as a business, no problem. But it comes from creating content, first of all. And John asked a really good question in the chat earlier. John, there's the easiest way you can get yourself out there. Just start, post videos, even if it's not about your business, right? Because the point of creating content is that it makes you better at speaking on camera. You go back and watch my early stuff, I can barely talk. There's so many ums and ahs in there. Now I'd like to think that I've improved. But how did that start? It started because I was doing it in the first place. So the ROI on the content is not the money that you make from it, not for the first bit for a long time. It's the goodwill, and it's also the ability that you learn, the ability to speak on camera, which is a huge skill for any entrepreneur in 2022. It's amazing. And by the way, you'll learn to love it, and it feels fun after a while. It's fun as heck. I absolutely love it.
100%. And you know, so when I started up my programs, I knew that the biggest skill set entrepreneurs needed was to be able to speak and sell. James said that, you know, there was a recent interview with Warren Buffett, and they asked him, anyone coming out of uni right now, what advice should you give them? What should they learn? Warren Buffett could say anything, right? Balance sheets, this, that. But he said, you know, learn how to speak and sell. Most important two things. That's where my journey started, to want to teach people how to do. That's what I went and learned, became great at it. And then I taught other people how to do it, right? That's where everything for me started. And it's not just to be able to, like, you know, especially in the dental world, right? If you ever look at the quality of speaking there, it's not great. And I want to bring in a quality of speaking in the dental field, which is flipping phenomenal. I want it to be outstanding. And right, you know, so look at where there are gaps, right? So, you know, what we said is number one, the growth mindset. Number two, find your gift. Number three, the content. The most important thing after that is your sales, right? A lot of people don't like talking about sales. Like, you know, we're going to go for about 5-7 minutes more, and then we want to take in some questions. We've got some private questions here, and we've got some on the group. So sales wise, right? The most important thing you can learn how to do is to be able to sell. But I don't mean sell, I mean sell elegantly. Like, how do you, like, what sales really is where you've got something which is so good where you can change someone else's life. And all money is a transaction which allows that to happen. The reason, again, I said that when people don't value things which are free, I also totally believe the more someone pays, the more they pay attention. The more they pay attention, okay, the better results they get. The better results they get, the better you've done. So I genuinely feel that it's your duty to be able to, within reason, be able to learn how to price yourself as high as possible. Number one, so you could, like, you know, everyone's over here, right? You know, competition exists here, but over here, like, I'll give you an example, right? Recently we were flying, sat in a plane, and as we kind of went up, and as the plane was trying to break the clouds, right? Just, you know, there was a bit of turbulence, but below the clouds, right? It was busy, lots of planes and this and that. But the moment you broke the clouds, it was hard to break the clouds, right? Some turbulence. Once you got up there, it was empty. And I thought, wow, right? This is what business is like. At the bottom, right? It's tough, it's crowded, but that's what everyone's fighting for. But once you flipping break the clouds, it's hard to break the clouds. It was turbulent, you know, you have to push hard, right? But the moment you break the clouds, it's flipping empty. And for me, that's where that's what the top's about. But most people don't want to play at the top. Reason is, number one, they can't. They don't have the confidence to do so, number one. Number two, they can't price themselves at the top. They don't know how to. Number three, top's lonely. It's a lonely place trying to play at the top. I get it. You've had that. Top's lonely. It is, because there's not many people over there. And it's hard and it's tough. But that's where I feel that each and everyone should be able to price ourselves, right? So the sales becomes massive. And, like, you know, what I do in the academy is I teach sales heavily because it's so important, right? But I teach what I do, right? So, like, you know, we're open and all, like, you know, so, like, we tell you everything we have. It's like, you know, people pay me 6 figures to coach them, right? But it's how do you do that? How do you get people paying 6 figures? What's that transaction value like? Like, how can people understand something like that? It's cool. Remember the person I met, like I told you about, that guy, Eric, like, he was charging $1 million. How does someone charge $1 million to be able to coach you? Those things blew my head. And us being in dentistry, especially in the NHS, it flipping brings us down here. Like, we're used to people paying us like £20 an hour and £30, like, you know, you do a filling for like 20 quid. Like, what is that? You started 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years to do that. It really devalues you, and it sucks it out of you. So you end up as a dentist where you don't really value yourself much because you've been in a system which doesn't value you. And financially, you're never taught about money, and that never happens. So the sales process as an entrepreneur is huge, massive. It is so important. But until you've got the mindset, the skill set, the heart set, you found what you really want to do, you've started getting yourself out there, the sales comes then. It doesn't come first. James, what's your view on that? Because you know this, because that's what you're doing right now as well.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, going back to what you were saying, when people are playing the sales game down here and people are fighting over scraps, basically, and if you can set yourself apart and become someone that's totally unique, that has a particular piece of information or platform that relates some knowledge or anything or some activity or some hobby to a group of people that only you can do, and only you're a market of one. Now, finding out what that is, that's another thing. Okay, that's another thing entirely. So you have no competition, but that's part of the process. That's part of the journey. You have to figure out what that is, as we spoke about earlier. The biggest thing about sales is this. Now, I find this totally bizarre because this is the biggest hack. If you think first of all, sales is a bit of a bad rep. Sales is something that there's a bit of a connotation there. Maybe the car salesman springs to mind. It's a little bit unsavory. Yeah. For me, the biggest thing that I realized was it's all about intention, and it's all about how much you care. And that person that you're selling to, if you can make a promise to them that where they are versus what you will be able to do to help them to get them to where they want to be. So if you want to be able to help them to get better at speaking, or get better at investing, or get better at anything, if you can say to them, I promise you that I will do everything, that I will get you to that place because I will give you everything I've got. For some reason, people do not do that often enough. People have an hourly rate. People charge per the hour. There's no guarantee. That is something I can go to anybody for. But if you're the person that says, actually, I will get you there and I'll do whatever the heck it takes, then you become so valuable, and that's how you're able to charge 5 figures, 6 figures. Mahmood, there's people out there who coach people for 5 figures, 6 figures. That seems so unbelievable right now. But and it would have seemed unbelievable to me as well. I've got 5-figure coaching clients as well. People who come to me because they want to learn how to start businesses online. And you know what I say to them? I say that my promise to you is I'll get you that business. You'll get there. You'll get to where you want to be. And I'll do everything I flipping can. Yeah. And like I say, it's not an hourly rate. It's not a per Zoom rate. Sometimes you find yourself doing things that are a little strange. You're on Zoom at like 2 a.m. and stuff like that because somebody needs you. You have to be prepared to be a different person. But if you can be that person and you're happy to do that, you can name your flipping price. Honestly, it's absolutely bananas. Money is never, ever an issue, And here's the thing, you can do that, and you can do it with a clear conscience and a clear heart, because you know that you care, and you know that you'll go so far above and beyond everybody else that sum of money, whatever they invest in you, you're going to give them 10 times more back. And that's the mindset. That's the mindset.
100%. See, there's 2 parts of our mind, right? And the biggest part is the subconscious mind. Our conscious mind accounts for 5% of our mind. So we only think about what we think about 5% of the time, right? The rest of the time is a subconscious playing. And a lot of, most of our subconscious mind is formed from when we were kids. Yeah, from when we were before 7, younger than 7. And a lot of what our parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts said to us stays in us. A lot of our financial mindset is actually built up when we were kids, but not from what we thought, from what other people thought, and it's penetrated inside of us. So for example, if we were in a room or whatever, I'll tell you, finish a sentence for me. I'd say, money doesn't grow on you all go trees. And I'd say, money is the root of all, and you say evil, right? And we know these things, and they're embedded inside of us. And subconsciously, if you actually know that money is the root of all evil, why would you ever consciously try and make money? You may consciously want to try and make it, but subconsciously you never want to make it, because you'll know that the more money you make, the more evil you become, right? Or it's the root of all evil. Things will go really bad if you make more money, right? And so these are the things which we need to understand and to be able to remove from us, because otherwise what happens is they block us. We don't even know that. We don't even know what's going on inside our minds. We don't even know what's going on inside our subconscious. So the part of understanding the sales process, to understand what's holding us back and why it's been holding you back before, and to create new empowering beliefs based around sales. And what if you could understand that money is beautiful? What if you could say, I love money, but the reason is because you can give it away. The more you have, the more you can give, right? Imagine that, right? Imagine when you die and you go down there and whoever you believe in, you believe in God, the universe, or whatever, but you're going to be asked, right? I truly believe that you're going to be asked when you die about what the hell did you do, right? Like the life you led. And I know that each and every one of you have the potential to be great. And you'll be shown a video, and that video will show you what you could have been. And there'll be another video of how you really did. And those 2 videos, man, for a lot of people, they're far apart, right? And the journeys try and match them up as close as possible. And what if you realize after you died that you had the potential, which I truly believe, for example, to be a multimillionaire or a billionaire? But that money wasn't for you, right? It was for other people. So you're meant to build churches and mosques and temples and orphanages, right? That's what you were put on this earth to do. you only need so much money for your family, right? And then beyond there, there's not much more money can buy, right? The rest is what you do with it for others. And that's where the true happiness comes from. Like really it does. And so, the journey is that we need to uncover and understand and appreciate how valuable we are and what we can do. And for me, that's what the flipping sales process is about. And once you've tapped into that, is then to be able to utilize all of this and to be able to have the patience. Remember, macro patience, not micro patience. Micro, I want you to just every day push, no patience. And like, I don't want to have any patience. Don't have patience. Long term, have patience. Know it's going to happen. And that's the fourth belief I have, right? And for me, they're the five. We could make a week seminar out of this, talking about the five, going into detail, going to strategy, going to micro strategy for this, right? But we wanted to give you a taster of what this group's going to be about. And so for me, those five are the most important. And James, I mean, you know that, right? Like, it takes time. It didn't happen for you overnight, right? You worked and you struggled and you pushed and you hard, but it happens. And then when it does happen, it's like flipping, it happens all of a sudden. Like, it's like buses, right? They don't come for ages. When they come, flipping 20 come at the same time. Like, what the hell, right? Yeah.
Totally. Patience, so important. Having the belief to carry you through. But you know what? The second that you know that as soon as people are watching you, and as soon as you've got eyes on you, that you can always create something to serve them, that is what will give you the patience, because you know that it's going to work out no matter what. And it's just about growing and growing and growing. And how it looked for me, it was probably about 6 to 7 months of just 24/7 thinking about how I could grow my platform before I came to it with any sort of proposal to sell something on there. Yeah. Now, like I say, that took about 6-7 months of building goodwill. You have to play the long game. Now, again, I love Gary Vee, as I said, and I was listening to another Gary Vee thing about 3 weeks ago that made me reframe this slightly as well. When you're creating some sort of following online, when you're getting those eyes on you at the start, okay, build the trust, build the rapport first of all. That's where the patience comes. Because if you go on there and nobody knows you and you're trying to sell something at the very start, you haven't got that connection just yet. Those people don't know you, okay? You can create a platform and try to sell something. This is what I see people do wrong all the time. You create a platform and then you try to sell something on it like the day after you've created it, or maybe a week down the line, yeah? But the thing is that even if your only intention is to monetize it and make it as profitable as possible, actually, if you wait for 5 months and give them pure value, 5-6 months, give them pure value, pure content, comes back to the content thing we were talking about as well. You can create your own stuff that gives them value, useful information that they can use in their lives. When you do come to monetize, you will make way more money from that product or service that you've brought to that group 6 months down the line than you ever would have made, even if you were trying to sell stuff for the whole 6 months. In the meantime, you'll actually make more money all at once, and it comes quickly. It comes just like that, okay? When you have a following and when you have eyes on you, you'll make more if you have patience. And also, as well as that, your platform will actually function and work as well, because those people will like you. And that is so important. But yeah, just like Mahmood said, 100%. Oops, someone's just creeping into the room here. I'm just letting them in. Just like Mahmood said, impatience on a day-to-day basis. I want things done yesterday when it comes to my work. I'm so impatient. It annoys me if it's not done. My brain is rewired to be irritated if I have tasks on my to-do list. And I've never got rid of that trait, because it's really effective at getting things done. Comes back to the hard work thing, but patience in the long run, because this thing doesn't happen overnight. And like I say, if you can be patient, the rewards are unbelievable, especially when it comes to monetizing what you do. That's my take on patience.
Also, shall we open it to questions?
Totally.
So we've got a couple of questions. So for those of you on Zoom, more than happy for you to unmute and then kind of just raise your hand and let's ask you. It'd be great to hear your voices. We've got some questions through Facebook. Got a couple of posts. A few people have posted them up directly here. So is anyone firstly on Zoom at the moment who'd like to?
Here's what we'll do. There was the lovely Jenna who posted a question here in the chat. Jenna, are you with us? Jenna, would you be happy to jump on the mic and just talk a little bit about yourself?
She will, 100%. She's smiling already. So yeah.
Awesome, brilliant.
Hi.
And also, Jenna, number one, great to see you, right? And maybe you want to direct your question to either James or myself or both of us, either way. And then don't feel bad if it's just for James, just for me, right? That's totally fine, right? or you may want both of our takes on it, right? And then if you direct it to James and I want to jump in with something, I will as well. But yes, feel free to ask.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I've sort of recently started my side gig journey, still in its infancy at the moment. But what I'm hoping to do is create like painting workshops for dental teams. So I think one of the barriers to me is because I've obviously got no formal art training or anything like that. You know, art is something I've done ever since I was, you know, a young child, but it's just, I think it's like a bit of imposter syndrome, maybe thinking, am I good enough to kind of share the knowledge that I have with other people? I think that's the main thing, really.
Anyone you want to address it to, or both of us?
Both of you, really.
James, you want to start?
Great question. And this happens all of the time. Okay. Here's the reframe. Okay. So much of this is upstairs. So much of the things that hold people back are psychological. 80% of business problems are psychological hurdles, 20% are practical. And this is 100% a psychological thing. Here's the thing, Jenna, right? So you know enough about art that if you went to a dental practice or you went to meet a dentist, that you could teach them something that would be useful to them, right?
Yeah.
There you go. There's your answer, right? So you know that person out there who wants to learn about art, who wants to become better at it. What you have is valuable. All the information that you have in your head right now is enough to make them better, right? That's enough to improve them. So if that person wants to learn about art, none of us know everything about everything. Even the experts do, you know what I mean? But we know enough to help someone. That's all we need to be able to do. As long as you've got enough in there to help someone, you've got a business. But here's the thing as well, Jenna. The thing is, if you keep going down the art journey, the art pathway, you'll learn so much more about art. And it's through doing that you actually expedite your process to becoming the expert as well. Are you with me? Yeah. Does that help? That helped me a lot when I figured that out at the start.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
It's good. It's powerful, isn't it? Really powerful.
For me, like the way I look at this is when you understand that imposter syndrome is part of the journey, and the reason it's part of the journey is because of this, right? That, Jenna, right, what's the biggest fear we have in life?
Regret.
I'll make it easier. That's cool. No, that's cool. No, and that's a great answer. The biggest fear we have in life is a fear of failure. Okay, that's the biggest fear we have in life. And the second biggest fear in life is if I fail at what I do, the people around me won't care about me anymore. So, for example, if you fail at what you do, the people, and so what that's there for, it's a mechanism inside you to stop you doing the things which could make you fail. One of the ways in which that happens is by you thinking that I'm not good enough at what I do, so that way you don't have to go and do what you do, and that way you'll never fail, and you'll always be safe, and you'll always be okay, and people always love you, right? And when you understand that the reason imposter syndrome is there for that specific reason, is there to keep you safe so you don't grow, because if you grow, you may get hurt, and if you get hurt, the people around you won't care about you anymore, then you understand that's cool, right? So it's about acknowledging it and knowing that it's there for a reason to serve a purpose. Whatever journey you try and go on, and even if you were like, even if you had so many credentials after your name to paint, there'd still be that, well, I've never done it in a dental practice. Like there'll always be that next thing, there'll always be that next one. And I always say, you know, there's a different devil at every level, and at every level you grow, there's going to be a different devil, and all the devils are up there. And what you need to do is you need to understand that this is normal. And it's going to be there. And when you understand that, then it's okay to think it because you can get past it. But right now, because sometimes we don't know it's normal, we let that hold us back. So yeah, 100% you're going to feel that. And it's okay to feel that. But you know what? Now, what you do is when you fight that thought and you go and do it, you'll show yourself, because like imagine if you, do you know the best way to start? So have you, okay, so let's make it practical. Let's make it, you know, let's make it micro. You want to be able to go into dental practices, and you want to be able to run maybe not classes, but it's not retreats. It's what? It's a day, half a day.
Like half a day.
Yeah, take them out of the practice, in the practice.
Well, I've done one so far, just with some friends as a trial, and I've done it in a bar setting.
Awesome.
Well done.
Awesome. How was it?
Yeah, it was really good fun actually.
Okay. Did you get some testimonials?
Yeah, I got a couple. I just need to get them to put it on the Facebook group.
Fantastic. Okay, fine. So you've got that. Did they pay you?
I basically just charged them enough to cover materials.
That's cool.
So,
That's cool. Right.
And I'm doing another one this Friday actually with my work team as well in the same
Wonderful.
place. So
with your work team.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So did those guys have a good time? The other people you did it with? Yeah.
Yeah, they really enjoyed it.
They really. So then you can do it, right? That's it. But then your mind's going to say, oh, but they only paid me my cost, and then there's going to be that problem. And then this Friday when you do it, the problem's going to be, oh, but they knew me anyway. And do you see that? There's always going to be that. Okay, there's always going to be that. So, but you've done it and it works.
Yeah.
You've done it, and that's it. And that should give you enough confidence now. Okay, let me ask you, right? So you went and you did this, and how did they feel at the end? They felt happy, they felt energized, right?
Yeah.
Right? And what if you called another few practices, people and say, look, I'm starting this, or I've done this, and it was great for the team. Why don't we do it? What's the worst they can say?
No.
That's the worst, right? It's the worst, right? And you've got a couple of testimonials. Have a look at this and start from there.
Yeah.
But just remember, imposter syndrome is there to hold you back, and it's always going to be there, no matter what level you get to. And as long as you can appreciate that and understand that, you move on. Yeah.
Jenna, has that totally and utterly quashed that for you? Has that helped? Because we can give you more if we need to, or does that help loads?
That's a big help. Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's awesome. Yeah, well done. Everybody gets that. And just like Mahmood says, the trick is to recognize that it's not your specific circumstances, it's your brain trying to do that to you, okay? And there'll always be, even if you're a flipping art expert, there'll always be something up here trying to hold you back. And when you see it for what it is, you're really powerful, because you'll never get that. And you know what? For me, right, I had to bust through that so much at the start. And for me, I would actually, even though I don't know anything about art, I'd be quite happy starting an art business tomorrow, even though I know nothing about it. That's how much you can just totally eliminate it in your head when you see it with the right pair of eyes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Happy?
Yeah.
Happy? Thumbs up. And well done, by the way, because that's an awesome side gig. I think that's really cool.
Thanks.
Really great.
Right then, super happy for you, Jenna. That was a great question. Okay, feel free. Let me just see. I think we had some questions from earlier. We had John. John like to jump on. John, are you happy to ask a question on the microphone? Can see John just there. Hello, John. Do you want to feel free to unmute you? Let me unmute you, John. Are you happy to come on? Thumbs up if you're happy to come on. Yeah.
Right. So.
How are you?
Well, yeah.
You good? Yeah?
Yes.
John, would you like to ask your question that you've popped in the chat there?
Oh yeah, actually it's to getting the clients for the business. So like I said, I prepared everything for a coaching business, and I think you answered the question how to get more clients is to get out content. I think that's your proposal.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, content. The 3 C's of success on the internet: content. How are you in front of a camera when you speak in?
Yeah, I did some videos, and there are many people say I'm artificial, but actually I think I'm like this. So because you said to be authentic.
What was that? Some people said.
It feels very stiff when I'm in front of the camera doing the videos and things like that.
Okay. I have a question for you, right? Like, this is really important. And this is really important for me for when people give you feedback. Like, 2 questions here. Those people who gave you feedback, are they good friends of yours? Do you respect them? Are they or are they just randoms? Are they outside people you don't really know that much?
Oh, they know you. They know me, yes.
They know you. Fine. Okay. Also, are they posting up content themselves?
Some yes, some not.
Okay, fine. So here's my thing, right? On this journey, be very selective over who you take advice from. I always say, always take advice from people. Only take advice either from people you really, really value, right? Okay, number 1, or number 2, from people who've already done what you've done. because what most people tend to do is people love to give advice, even though they haven't done it. And it's like, you know, a lot of people go and take wealth advice from poor people, but like, you know, it doesn't make sense. So I always say that when you are taking advice within your business, within your life, go and take advice from someone who's already doing what you're trying to do, because they give a totally different level of advice than someone who hasn't done it. Everyone's a talker, right? Everyone loves to give advice, right? So be very selective, because what happens when someone tells you you're very kind of fake or plastic, whatever you said on camera, right? Now, if they're not doing it themselves, you got to ask yourself, why would they say that to you? Like, you know, what backing do they personally have to be able to tell you that? Because they don't do it themselves, right? And some people will tell you that because they don't want you to grow. And you see this a lot, right? And many of you will be able to relate to this, that a lot of people want you to grow. Yeah, they're like, yeah, go do it. But as you start doing well, they don't want you to do really well, right? Because then they feel insecure about themselves. Because as you're growing, they're not growing. And it's like, you know, what do? It's hard to grow because you have to have your biggest fear, as we said to Jenna, right? They may fail, and most people don't want to do that. Right? So instead, rather than helping you build, they'd rather bring you down, right? And that's the way it is out there. And that's the way it works. So I would be very cognizant of, number one, the type of advice you take and who you take advice from, please, right? Just because someone said that and you may know them doesn't mean it's true.
Okay.
Yeah, because what will stop you doing is doing more, because, oh, you know, I'm not that good on camera, but hold on, right? You know, your first, like if you go to my YouTube channel, there's about 300 videos on there, right? If you look at the first few, they're crap. I was going to take them out. Because like I was holding a piece of paper like this, and I was, you know, I was reading that way, yeah. And you know, my wife said to me, she goes to me, don't take them off because it shows your journey. And I was like, okay, cool, you got a point. She normally has a point, right? And she said, yeah, don't take them off. And I left them there, and they're all there. So, but it's going to take you your first 50 videos before you become really good. And until you've done the first 50, you won't become good. So don't be put off by making the first 50 crappy videos, because it means number 51 is going to be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And you know what? I'm just going to, everything Mahmood said, totally bang on. I'm going to say one thing as well. You know, the ability to speak on camera, you take that into your day-to-day life and you become so much more articulate. If I can encourage everybody in this webinar to make content, it makes you into a different person. I never thought it was important. I never thought it was something that anybody who should do. But looking back on it, I wish I would have started sooner, because it makes you so articulate. It makes you so good at describing what it is that you sell, even in general day-to-day discourse, Jun. It's like life on another level. Keep going, my friend. Remember, when someone points, okay, they've got 3 fingers pointing back at themselves, yeah? So you always look at them, weigh up whether what they're giving you is good advice.
James, where did you get that quote from? Who told you that one?
I think I just made it up on the fly. I just made it up just then. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, yeah, you know, it's always, and anytime anybody gives me advice, the first thing I do is I think to myself, okay, do I internalize that or not? And how I do that, my process, my protocol is I first look at that other person and think, is that someone that I want to emulate and who knows what they're talking about? And if the answer to that is no, I don't even let it into my brain. I just say, okay. I just say, okay, I don't even engage them. Yeah. And that's a hack for life, 100%. Does that help, John?
Oh yeah, that's a can I just ask, because there was also the question in the chat, what kind of content or video content should you create to
Great question. Yeah, Mahmood, do you want to answer that, or shall
Yeah,
I?
I'd love to. Do you know what I said before is that people buy into you as a person, Jen, right? So I would want you to post out whatever you're passionate about. So whether you're in the gym in the morning, post about it. Whether you're good at cooking, post about it, right? And post about you, because that's what people are going to buy into, right? So people, like, once people get to know you, it's like you always want to do business. You only do business with someone you trust and someone you like. And the way you build up trust is by getting to know someone. And the more you get to know them, the quicker you get to know them, the quicker trust builds up. So the kind of content, so there's no right or wrong answer about that. There's no right or wrong. Like people say, like, how long should content be? Well, like, think about it, right? You know, sometimes you turn off in 10 seconds in a video, but sometimes you'd watch a 4-hour Star Trek video, right? Without going to the toilet. And why is that? It's because it's entertaining, right? So, and And the way you'll see is as you start posting more and more out there, you'll see what people like, what people watch, what people don't, and that's data, and it's great. Yeah, don't be worried about people liking it or people watching it. That's not your business. Your business is to post.
Okay.
Yeah, and people will watch. That's it, right? So whatever, anything, all the time, every day, 5 times a day, that's the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One tiny thing I'm going to say on that. Remember, John, it's all growth. It's all contributing to making you better at speaking on camera, which means that when the time comes where you do talk about your products, you're a killer, you're an assassin, you're unbelievable, and the words just flow out of your mouth like a fountain. Yeah?
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thanks both of you for the advice.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute
Awesome,
pleasure.
mate. Really happy for you.
James, quick question from Taj on the Facebook group.
Yeah.
He's asking about where what's the question? Let me go to Mahmood, where did you recruit the people for the initial fitness group? We've got about 5-7 minutes before we wrap up, right? So for me, it's Taj, great question, right? So what I did is I went to my community, and so it was the Asian community, and I told them I wanted 15 people to be able to get fit. And what people said to me is, Mahmood, Asians don't get fit. You won't find 15 people, you'll find not even 5. And I said, I don't care, even if I get 1, right? And the quote I use for myself is, I can't change the world through one person, but I can change the world for one person. And that's all I wanted to do, change one person's life. The truth is 15 people came very quickly. And from 15, we went to 20, 20 went to 50, now we're like 150. The group still runs. I don't run it myself anymore, but it's still there. But it's something which I built up. And we didn't just run it in this country. We took it to New York, took it to Canada, took it to Singapore, took it to Dubai. So like we opened up everywhere, and it was great, right? And so I went to the community and I went there. And the reason when a lot of you start up your side hustles, James and me will tell you, is go to dentists, is because you know dentists really well. Like, a big percentage of my clients are dentists. And the reason is because I was a dentist and I understand dentists more than anyone, right? And so they can relate to me a lot more. So really, really important that way. So hope that answers your question.
Hold on. Let me just unmute. There we go. Sorry about that, Mahmood. Somebody just.
That's cool. No, that's fine. That's it.
Yeah.
Who's
Awesome.
next?
Yes, indeed. Let me just look up who we got. We got Hasnain Mandami. Hasnain, are you happy to jump on and ask your question? Shall I unmute you?
There's a familiar face.
Hey, there we are. How are you? Oops, let me just, okay. Yep, the mic is yours, Hasnain.
So last week, you guys told me to create a Facebook group to put my content out. I did, and I've got about 86 members in a week, which is really good.
Whoa, stop right there.
Yeah. Well done.
That's brilliant.
So I'm thinking of what kind of content I can put out. I don't want to get people bored. I want to keep them interested, keep them hooked on me as well. What's the best thing to do that? So one problem I came across, which I did a poll for the group, is optometrists' backs getting very tired and stiff during the day because of what we do, sitting in one position. So I've got a physiotherapist doing a video for me, which I'm going to post as well. But what other things can I do to keep the audience interested?
Excellent. Mahmood, would you like to take the reins on that one, or I can? I don't mind.
You go for it. You start.
Okay. Yeah. So on that one, here's the first question, Hasnain. What is the title of the group?
Aspiring optometrists.
Aspiring optometrists. And what is your aim or purpose for the group?
My aim is to bring everyone in the optics field together, so we can discuss what each other's highs and lows are within the profession.
Yeah.
I know what people are struggling with. I can then focus in on that.
Awesome. When you say highs and lows, do you mean personal highs and lows, or business, or all of the above?
So what they enjoy about their daily routine, what they enjoy about going to work, about testing, about owning a practice, and what they don't enjoy.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, first thing about content, think to yourself, here's the thing, right? I've made content before and I've thought to myself, this is a shoe-in, 100,000 of people are going to download this. This is awesome, right? And it gets like 5 downloads, okay? Yeah. Now, on the flip side, sometimes I've made things before and I've thought, I do my best. I work really hard on every single piece, but I thought to myself, this one is probably not going to get as much interest as the other ones. And guess what? It gets like a crazy number of views. All right. So the thing about it is, here's the first thing to understand. You can never predict it 100%. However, some people just intuitively get it better than others, okay? But the thing about it is, you don't know until you create something what's going to sink and what's going to swim. So your data comes from creating it in the first place. And the point is that you're actually doing it rather than theorizing over what is good and what isn't, okay? So that's the first thing, right? Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong to answer the question. I'm just saying see it from that point of view, first of all. Does that help, first of all?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so that's the first thing. So ultimately, we can get on this webinar and I can say to you, Hasnain, create this, it's awesome, and it might totally flop. Or I might say, oh no, don't bother creating that. It doesn't sound, that interesting, and it might completely blow up. That's the first thing to understand. We can never predict it 100%. Okay. So on that note, the next thing is, all we can do is we can pick things that we think sound interesting or we believe have a very good idea, have a very good chance of resonating with people, and then we go from there. Okay. So for you personally, you must have some ideas already about things that you can create from the group, that will appeal to those people. So you might say something like, hey, here's a video on morning routine techniques, or here's a video on things that you can use for your morning routine. Okay, now to me that sounds interesting straight away because that's something useful for the group. All right, so for me, there's an example of a title of a video that you can create right there. And then what you do is you just pick things along those lines that sound of interest. We see what sinks and we see what swims. Now the metric that gives you the feedback is how many people download it and what your average is. But we don't know that until we start growing the group in the first place. And then we find the stuff that's interesting. Then we double down on that. We create more of that. And also, here's the other ROI from the content. It also allows you to decide what is interesting and therefore eventually create a product or a package as well to serve those people. So effectively, it's your market research too.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, yes. Basically, just put out anything I can think of and see what sticks.
Exactly. And when we say anything you think of, things that you believe, that you honestly and earnestly believe will be interesting and useful. Yeah. And then that is your market research. So that thing I said just there, morning routine, tips on morning routine, 5 tips on morning routine, 5 tips on exercises that you can do at the gym to become healthier. Honestly, diet tips, stuff like that. Yeah. And what you'll find is you might think to yourself, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a physiotherapist, I'm not a PT, but the point is that it's useful. Yeah. And as long as it's something that you can teach others, then it has value and it's useful, and it's your duty to share that stuff regardless of your background or area of expertise. When I say that stuff, that sounds, that's getting me excited. Okay, so is that how you feel as well? Like, does that sound fun? Because that's the point. Yeah. It has to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I was just really excited at how many people I got to join in the first week. That just really pumped up. I just messaged everyone I knew.
You need to smile about it, bro. Can't see that smile. Yeah, that's like, that's a lot of people.
I just messaged everyone I knew, and maybe 60% of the people joined, which is still quite a lot.
Excellent. And you know what your best friend is? The invite button. Okay, I would just invite people. Invite. What's the quickest way you can get 5,000 followers on social media? You add 5,000 friends on Facebook. Yeah. 5,000 followers right there. And there's a thing up here that will hold you back, and you'll say, that's not what Facebook's for. Who are these people are not going to add me back? They're going to block me. Some will, some won't. That's the thing. But if you can do it, the rewards are amazing. You get 5K followers. What I would do, if you want to grow your group, easiest way to do it, okay? Find a group that is similar to your own or has a group of people from your profession in it. So optometrists, right? That's what you said, right?
There is a group with about 2,500 people there.
Amazing. You go to that group and you add the first 75 new members. If you add more than 75, Facebook will block you. Okay, so 75 is the upper limit. Some will add you back, some won't. Yeah. Then what you do is you post about your group on your personal Facebook group. And also there's a really cool feature on Facebook. When you hit the invite button, there's another button that says groups in common. And what that will do is that will populate a list of people who are in that first group that you added them from. it'll populate them in a list, and then you can invite people from that group who are unbelievably likely to be optometrists because they're in that other optometrist group, and you grow your group just like that. And I've seen people get 1,000 members in a month by doing that trick. It's amazing. And then guess what? Again, it's one of those things, you faith it till you make it a little bit. Yeah. You have to get the followers to get more followers. But how do you get the followers in the first place? If you're posting amazing content and no one's talking about it, then that's not your fault. That's, you know, you've done your best. So how do you do it? You give it a little nudge, and that's how, man. And you can get 1,000 members, no sweat, in a month and a half. I've seen it happen to lots of people using that feature.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome.
Welcome, man.
Brilliant.
Welcome, bro.
So James, I think we need to wrap up. We're past the 90-minute mark. No, we're way past the 90-minute mark.
Yes. So just to reiterate what Mahmood said earlier, we're at the BDIA conference. Mahmood is speaking on Friday. I'm speaking on Saturday. Mahmood and I are having a get together at the BDIA conference for medical entrepreneurs and dentists who invest. It would be awesome to see everybody there and meet you all in the flesh. So therefore, we are arranging a meetup outside the front entrance at 5:30 p.m. outside the front of the conference hall, and we will see everybody there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to meet and greet everybody. Maybe we'll go for some food. We'll see where the night takes us. It'll be fun. Looking forward to it. Mahmood, anything you want to say as well?
I'm excited that we've got this group together. It's been a long time in the making. We've got a lot of plans for this. Yeah, we've got really busy lives, but this is important for us, and I'm sure this is important for you as well. And whatever dreams, ambitions, aspirations you have, you know, please do ask, please use what we have. Look, right? There's no difference between us and you. Okay. For me, life got so bad that I had to make the move, right? I wasn't prepared to keep doing what I was doing, right? And then there's some gold and there's some wisdom in there. And if we can share that along the way, that would be great. And who knows where the journey goes for you, but for now we're here, and it's a great place to be. So thank you very much. And what we're going to do is every month we will have webinar and Q&A in here, different topics as the group grows, and we'll take it from there. Anyone who you feel would like to be able to be part of this group, please let them know. Again, it's a place where we're here to serve, we're here to give. There's no charge or anything for anything. Come in, learn, listen, and yeah, let's change lives.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, awesome. And you know what, when we talk about this stuff, you know, I genuinely get excited because I know what it can do. I've seen it firsthand. It's happened to me. It's happened to others, you know, and I look back in my life and I think, you know what, James, you never disliked teeth, but look at how much fun you could have been having by doing this. And I just think to myself, you know, there's so many people out there who, if you're not totally enamored with your job, then for me, something needs to change. There needs to be something else to your life, because every second that you spend either being unhappy or being just average, just in a state where you're neither you're ambivalent effectively, is one less second on your life where you could be happy when you're doing something fun. And when you get to that place, when you get to that point, it feels unbelievable. And that point exists for everybody. And it's by doing this stuff, it's by applying what we talked about on this webinar, and it's by finding what your passion is in life. That's how everybody should be playing life. I want everybody to be this happy. Seriously, I have so much fun on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. And I want everyone to be that happy. And that's why we host these webinars. And you will be. And it all starts with taking a step, doing something that you wouldn't do normally. If you do the same things, you get the same results. If you do different things, you get different results. It's as simple as that. And it's just about exploring, getting the ball rolling, using the advice we're going to give on these webinars. And yeah, exciting things to come. Mahmood and I are going to be doing this once a month, every month in the Medical Entrepreneurs Group. If you've got any friends out there who are aspiring entrepreneurs in the medical field, this group is for them. Let them know about it, spread the word. This thing is going to be massive. There's so many people out there who could benefit from this knowledge. It's just unbelievable. Mahmood, I'm sure speak for us both when we said we had a lot of fun presenting this tonight, and
Absolutely.
It's really awesome to see everybody. We're going to draw a line under proceedings now. Mahmood, would you like to say anything in conclusion, or are we happy enough to wrap up?
It will be great to see you if you're there on Friday. The idea is we can actually put a face to the Zoom face, and yeah, and any questions that you have, we're there. I'm speaking on Friday, Saturday. James, you're speaking Saturday, and it'll be great to meet you there. So if you're there, 5:30 outside of the hall, and then we'll meet there. So take care. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much. The most valuable asset you have is your time, and you've given up your time to be here. It shows you're hungry. So thanks for being here. Take care, and we'll see you possibly on Friday.
Awesome. So much more content to come, guys. Exciting page. Can't wait to see you all again next time. We'll catch up very soon. Mwah.
Take it. Bye-bye.
Bye.